There would be no football league today had it not been for George Halas. There's no doubt about it.
I've always said if anybody ever made a dime out of football, George Halas is the one guy that deserves it more than anybody that ever lived, because he put his whole life in it.
Halas went to spring training with the New York Yankees as an outfielder. Halas was in and out of the Yankee lineup. He appeared in 12 games and collected but 2 singles and 22 at-bats.
I couldn't hit a curve ball. That was one of my big reasons. So I thought I was ready for the big leagues again, but the Yankees got Babe Ruth to play right field. That left me out.
Here you are at Decatur running a football team, but there was a recession at that time, and they're in the soybean business, and one thing led to another.
Mr. Staley had to protect themselves, and he called me and he said, George, due to this recession, I'm sorry we cannot stand the expense of having a team here. Take it to Chicago, and he also gave me $5,000 as seed money to get started. That is what that beautiful man did to me.
It was in 1925 that Red Grange joined the Bears.
Well, Red was our first break. He was probably the most publicized player then or now, because he filled every park or stadium that we went to.
He was instant box office, and Halas made the most of it, taking the Bears on a coast-to-coast barnstorming tour in which the Bears played 19 games in only 47 days.
He was a tyrant up and down the sidelines. He'd run up there and run down, and he wouldn't stay in his box, and he berated the officials. And his vocabulary during the games, you couldn't possibly put it on tape. People used to come to Wrigley Field just to see Halas, I guess. If he got a chance, he'd probably kick a guy.
As I was trying to get up, I saw these brown shoes jump on my hands. Knowing full well who had these shoes, I came up very slowly with my helmet along this brown vest and butted Mr. Halas. And with that, of course, the entire Bear bench jumps up, and George puts his arms like this, and he says, "Hold it." And he came towards me, and he threw both arms around me like he was punching. And he pulled me in tight, and he said, "I always wanted you to play for me."
He says, "Yes, I'd like to speak to Coach Lombardi. It's very urgent." Now, this is 5 minutes before the game, and he walks in, and here are the two coaches by themselves. He says, "Yes, Coach, can I help you?" And he says, "Yeah." He said, "Vince, I just want you to know you better have your team ready, because we're going to kick your ass."
He had a dog on the sideline that near the close of a game that if he needed a timeout, he had a dog trained to run on the field.
Halas actually sells seats on our bench to patrons of the Bears, and the rope would be right behind you, and the fans would be standing directly behind you with the obscenities in your ear while you're trying to hear what's going on and play a football game.
There are 19 Chicago Bears in the Hall of Fame who played for George Halas. Among them is one of his favorites, whom he himself presented for induction.
Now, may I take a few moments to tell you about your fellow enshrinee, who not only helped make our dreams come true, but also who captured my heart. Gail Sayers.
I want to give a special thanks to George Halas, a man who more than anyone else has made professional football what it is today.
They say he's tough, they say he's cheap, but I know better. You know, I played for him, I know what he's done for his coaches, some of his players, and I know what he's done for me. He's a very, very warm person. You can't help but like George Halas. I love George Halas.
And if you play football and give 100% for George Halas, you can have just about anything he has.
60 years ago, I offered my heart and my helmet to my Lord. My heart is still beating. My helmet still fits. I pray the divine coach finds me worthy to be on his first team.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame, George Halas. It's yours. Player, coach, founder, come as you wish. We hail you as them all.
George Halas, the founding father of the National Football League.